I'm Kierstyn. I go to Hastings High School and I'm in 8th grade. And I've been dancing for 12 years now.
Hi, my name is Lissie. I've been teaching for 28 years now, but I teach middle school math. And I was asked to do this by Kierstyn and I'm very honored she asked me. Dear 16-year-old me, it would be impossible to tell you everything that's going to happen to you in the future. Also telling you all this stuff you should avoid wouldn't be fair to you, learning about your journey of life. You need to brave those challenges yourself, or you'll never learn from them. So instead, I want to tell you about some of the good choices you make, so you can see the good side of life. Of course, words of wisdom will be included. First, I want to let you know that those people in school who are able to ruin your day just to make them feel better, well, in less than a year, they'll be out of your life for good. Their names may come up in conversation, or you may have a minute of conversation with them through the years when you go home to visit, but really though, they won't be a part of your life ever again. Instead, just a small part of your history, truly a minuscule part of it. Also, while you will make mistakes and make poor choices, none of those will stop you from picking yourself up and moving on. If I had to pick your best asset, it would be your resilience. You turned out to be a strong person who never gave up on living, no matter how bad things seemed. Trust me, some moments have been the hardest experiences of my life, but I kept going. That's something so few people carry as a truly valuable asset to actually live in life. There are some great things that are going to happen to you. You'll have a great career, great kids, and a great husband. They will bring so much joy to your life. That in itself is so much better than you could ever hope for in a lifetime. The world is going to change drastically and get so much smaller through technology. You'll find a way to keep up with all the changes through your resilience. Lastly, my words of advice. Pay attention to those teachers in high school and college. They aren't just teaching you subjects, but also how to learn and appreciate all you have gained. Keep exercising that brain and take good care of your body. You only get one brain and one body to take care of during your life. Don't be afraid of what's ahead. Treat it like an adventure and take it one day at a time. It will be a life worth living. Sincerely, you, but not too far away.
I've interviewed a lot of adults and kids, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I think as adults, we have so many things in common that we struggle with, and we have such an impact on the kids. Sometimes we feel like we could talk more to them, but we don't have as much time as we used to. Do you find that teachers now are able to have as much of an impact as they used to be able to? Because the amount of time we get with the kids, with like your Common Core and everything, even what you said you teach 8th grade, so I don't know if you have the same requirements.
Yes.
Are you able to have the impact that you used to be able to?
I think because I've been teaching for a while now, I can kind of understand what would make a bigger impact on them. I really feel they just want to know we care about them.
Mm-hmm.
We're competing with video games.
I know.
I
know.
And the phone.
I know.
And it's really tough to compete against that, and we're always wondering, why do I need math? Why do I need all these things? And I'm thinking, math is everywhere, not just in your job, but also in your real life, your taxes and everything like that. You really need to have an understanding of numbers. So that's why, first of all, math is important. That's why you need so many years of it in school. But during the day, we have something called Capturing Kids' Hearts, where we're trying to show them we care, because they need to know we care. There's some of them, this is the highlight of the day. So we need to make that as good of a day as possible for them.
Right.
And I try to make them know that I care about their education, I care about their health, I care about their well-being. I care about their manners, I care about all those things, and I expect them to use manners, and I expect them to be kind to each other, and to be kind to their parents, and help their parents, and all kinds of things like that. I want them to be a good person, and I really push to make them as good of a person as possible by me modeling it, reminding them constantly how they're to be.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Yeah.
I love every single one of them, no matter what kind of a bad day they might give me. I keep thinking to myself, they might have to go home with something really bad. And I have to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm going to be a highlight of the day, not a low light of their day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think it's more important now than before.
Oh yeah.
I really think teachers are more hands-on more than they used to. Before it was just like the person stood in front of the room and they lectured and we don't do that anymore. We're in amongst the crowd and we're checking to see how they're doing and we're not in the hall with them and all kinds of talking to them and not just talking to each other.
Right.
So I think it's even more of an impact now.
When you think of your home, what immediately comes to mind?
Safe place.
Oh, that's awesome. When you think of home, what immediately comes to mind?
I think when I think of home, I think of my mom. It was both a mom and a dad to me. We were never rich because she was a single teacher. But we always had food. We always had clothes. We struggled to find socks that match because socks matching is important. But we knew she loved us. She took good care of us, and I know every night we go to bed. Before we went to bed, we would not give her a kiss on the cheek and say, "Love you, Mom," every night, because she tried to make my life as normal as possible, and she did a pretty darn good job. I mean, it was tough, but she had the biggest heart, so smart. But she was just really good.
If you lost everything tomorrow, whose arms would you run to make everything okay?
I think maybe like Cameron.
Yeah? Do they know how much they mean to you?
Yes.
When's the last time you told them?
Like yesterday.
That's awesome. And you met them through the dance studio?
Yes.
But they don't go to your school. But it's nice to have somebody to lean on because you have a hard time finding that at your school, don't you?
Yes.
Is that a real struggle for you?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
What is it about those girls? It just makes them special.
They do what they know is right and what they want to do, and they don't follow crowds.
Oh, that's awesome. If you lost everything tomorrow, whose arms would you run into to make everything okay?
My kids. For a big group hug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do they know how much they mean to you?
Oh, I think they do, yes.
When was the last time you told them?
Every time I talk to them, I tell them I love them.
But what motivates you?
What motivates me? I think all the challenges that I've had in life motivate me. I have kids, no matter how old they are, and they're adults now. I still think they depend on me to be strong. I have kids all day long who depend on me to be strong, to help them, to care about them. So they motivate me drastically. My faith motivates me to have a good life, to live that life that I feel is not a waste. That once my life is over, I can look back and say, I did it right. I didn't embarrass my family. It was a life worth living.
What are the chances you've passed up on that you regret?
I don't know.
Nothing?
I think I take whatever chances I can get that I know will benefit me.
That's great. If you had a friend that you spoke to the same way you speak to yourself, how long do you think that person would allow you to be your friend?
My best friend is my sister. And we speak very candidly to each other. We are each other's biggest critic, but yet she's my cheerleader in the purse. I think it would just continue.
If you had a friend that you spoke to the same way you speak to yourself, how long do you think that person would allow you to be friends? Do you talk to yourself very nicely? I don't.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's longer than I would be. Mine would be like a day,
Mine
maybe
wouldn't
an
even be
hour.
that. Mine would be like, I don't like you. And
Yeah,
then
mine
just
would be
walk
like,
away.
"You're a terrible friend." You talked a lot about resilience.
Yes.
I think that's a word that I haven't heard brought up in a long time. But I think it's an attribute that a lot of people have, especially since we all struggle with budgets and making our marriages work as adults. And I think we don't talk about that as much with our kids as I think it's important. These young kids to know how hard it is to stay in a relationship and how it takes resilience. And I think that word just doesn't get taught as much as we should. Can you just touch on resilience just a little bit more?
Well, I have been through a lot of tragedy in my life, and I can either give up on it. I lost my dad when I was 5. I lost my brother 10 years ago. I lost my mother a year and a half ago. I lost my husband 5 years ago. So I've lost all these really important people in my life, and I still had to keep going on for my kids' sake and for my own sanity. But I kept on going, and I think a lot of it was my faith. A lot of it was my family, my brothers and sisters that come from a big family, and just the idea that I can't stop living. I felt like I stopped. Everybody kept on going because everybody had all these lives, but I had to keep on going. And so I think for that reason, I thought I was really, really strong. I thought I could show for a number of years. But I'm now to the point where I am, I'm okay. I don't like what's happening in my life, but it's the hand holds down. And so I'm just going to make the best of it and be strong. Because and it's really hard to think that nothing's ever going to change in your life. You might think your life is perfect, and that's when you have to be careful, because then you get tested on that. And I feel like I've been tested a lot, but I've come back from it every single time. So for me, that is the thing I'm the most proud of, is how resilient I've been. I could just give it up, but I didn't. So I like to show them that you can do that too, no matter how bad it is. And sometimes it's bad at home. Hang in there. It's not gonna last forever. If you need something, we're here for you.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind that doesn't make who you are. You make who you are. So you have to be resilient no matter what your situation is.
What have you done that you're most proud to have achieved?
Gained weight.
Yeah.
I struggled with that a lot.
Did you? What did you do to do that?
I started exercising and stuff, and going outside.
Yeah. Did you start eating more too? Were you
Yeah.
eating less? Were you having a little bit of an issue eating?
I wasn't having an issue. My body wouldn't gain any weight, so I was really underweight for a long time.
Yeah. Did you have to go to the doctor for it and everything? So there's a thing that we don't realize as a society as much, and it's called skinny shaming. And did you physically, not physically, but did you mentally go through that a lot, where people would comment about how you're so small, and we don't even realize what we do to kids when we skinny shame them, and you probably felt the effects of that, but without even us really realizing what that does to you mentally. But you were trying to gain weight, and you were going to the doctor, and it didn't feel good to have people constantly comment about how small you are. So skinny shaming is really a real thing, and you felt it. So you really are proud that and that's something that people don't even realize. You're really proud you gained weight.
I was 10 years old.
And that was really hard for you. It was a struggle to gain weight. Everybody else that I've talked to has talked about faith, which I kind of expected to come up, but I didn't expect it to come up so prevalently, because you never know. I mean, we all assume things, but you just don't know.
Right.
What Has faith always been important in your life, or did you find that you grew more in your faith at a certain age, or because as a teen it's hard to be strong in your faith?
I was born and raised Catholic, and we went to church every Sunday, and I still go to church every fourth Saturday. But when I was about 13 and going to summer catechism, our teachers were nuns from a convent a couple miles away. And we had the neatest, she was probably in her 70s, nun that was taking care of us. And I think I was in 8th grade at the time, and we were asking her, and because she said, ask any questions you want to ask about that faith and everything. And she goes, and we asked her, how do you give up your life like that? And she goes, oh, it's easy. And I remember this. I still remember it. Her idea of faith was that we're going to be living for eternity. If you believe in the afterlife, it's going to go on forever. So your life on earth is about this long compared to way, way, way. And she goes, I think I can be a good person for this amount of time, which would make up the whole rest of that time. And she goes, that's what I live with. I live for the fact that I want to spend eternity in a great place. And so that's why she did what she did. And that really stuck with me. I kept thinking, you know, there's a thing called Pascal's theory that there may be an afterlife or not. And even if there isn't, it's still important to live a good life on this earth and have a good memory. Everybody's going to have a good memory of you and what your footprints you leave on this earth are going to be good ones. But kids who tell me, and I don't believe in God, I don't believe in God and everything, I go, well, you still better live a good life just in case you're wrong.
Right.
Because you could be wrong. We don't know, but I'm not taking any chances. That's too big of a thing. So my faith is really still important to me. I constantly, I'm always, and I'm thanking God constantly. Little things that happen, you think, oh my gosh, that was so close.
Mm-hmm.
I do that all the time. So yeah, my faith is probably the center of my life.
Well, and what an impact that one woman had on
Oh my
you.
gosh, she was, and I really thought about being a nun.
Well, and I wonder how many times that sentence you've said to other people. Just that sentence of, well, you better live a good life.
I say it a lot, you better be right.
Right.
If you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
We had these questions that we asked the girls. So these are the questions that I'm going to ask you. There's a few of them that we asked the girls.
Okay.
Okay. So because of your faith answer, standing at the gates of heaven and God asks you, why should I let you in? What do you reply?
Because I love you and I've always believed in you. And I've always tried to live the life you want me to live.
Last question. You ready? Who are you really? Describe yourself without using your name or any attributes given to you by society. And really think deep down, who are you?
I'm a performer. I'm reliable. I put what's most important first.
Who are you really? Describe yourself without using your name or any attributes given to you by society, and really think deep down, who are you?
A woman who enjoys being a woman because of my kids. And I think that is the greatest gift that we were given for her. And to have them be that close. I have insecurities a lot. I have people around me who make me feel good, that help my insecurities, and I hope I do the same for them. So that's a good question. Never thought about that before. But I feel like I'm a strong person. That I throw something at me, I'll find a way around it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be able to take care of it one way or another. And I'm not going to worry to death about it because it's never going to change the situation. And I try not to spend my whole night thinking about it because that's not doing any good. Don't worry about it. You can't do anything about it. Just do something